40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim. Forty Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim. Forty Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Green White Checker TV, where tonight we have the second to last race of the regular season here tonight at Daytona International Speedway, as it will be the Area 51 Xfinity Super Speedway Series. And like I said, it is 2 to go on this one. One more after tonight for the regular season. See who gets in the top 12. But before we can get there, we've got 75 scheduled laps here tonight. 2 Green White Checkers available, 2 faster pairs available to all these drivers. And Brandon, we talked about it on Friday night. It's even, I think, tighter in my opinion here on the point side of things. It's Cody and Gabe up front by a pretty good margin. Only 1 point between the two of them. However, 235 to 234. And then also last week, Charles Johnson getting that big win that jumped him 5 spots in the points, and that puts him in that cutoff spot in that 12th position. But he looked behind him. He's got a teammate, Bob Fitzgerald, only 2 points behind him. Another 2 points, you got Gary Huffines, Dean Wilkinson, just 1 point behind him. So 12th to 15th, I mean, you can see it right there. It's a 5-point spread between those guys. And again, I mean, we're starting to see this. You can see on the thing, it shows 6, 7, 8 starts. Some of them have missed a couple. So they've already used those drop weeks. So if someone can get a good race here tonight, that could actually make that drop week be a race that wasn't as bad and might even jump them higher in the points. So it's gonna get pretty tight here in this next 2 races.
Yeah, we seen the aggression pick up on Friday, and I think we're gonna see the same thing tonight. Cody Nagels and Gabe Butler, like you said, is leading the show. and they've been up front tonight. But I don't think that's where the storylines are going to come from tonight. I think it's these guys right here on the bubble. They got to be a little bit more aggressive, put themselves in situations that they haven't yet so far this year, and I think we're going to have a little bit of a different outcome tonight.
Yeah, no, it'll be a lot of fun. And again, this car versus what we see at the other plate tracks, I say just this car doesn't have it doesn't like the bump as much as we've seen with some of the other cars, or the trucks, like we mentioned on the Friday night side of things too. So again, that's going to be another thing that these drivers have to be ready for, is just it may not go to exact plan for some of these drivers. So, and it's like you said, and I think you're spot on, where some drivers might need to be more aggressive than they're used to being, just due to the fact that you got to put yourself in positions to know how to do the right moves at the right time later on in that race. So, and kind of on that note, I think every single driver tonight so far, Brandon, has put a lap down. So that to me right now already says the importance of qualifying and this race. Everybody wants to get to that top spot.
Yeah, not only that, but a lot of these drivers are probably thinking forward in the race. You know, you don't want, as we come to Daytona, yeah, you can fit 3 cars, but for the most time, a lot of these drivers, they'll say double file, and you really can't get moving forward until those pit stops come up when people start to get in line. And you don't want to be that guy waiting to get up front and or stuck on the outside, and then you get pushed all the way to the back. You lose 2 seconds, and then if you have a bad exit on pit road, you lose the draft. We've seen that on Friday come into play. So a lot of these drivers getting their strategies in early with their teammates and making sure they got everything where it needs to be.
You are exactly right. And with that, qualifying just has completed. And if I'm not mistaken, we may have had the same thing on Friday night, if not just as close. But we've got Gabe and Cody, and it went to the tens of thousands of a second between the two of them. Because you can see right there, Cody showing 0.000 behind Gabe Butler. So those two top 2 in the points, and they are right on top of each other in qualifying as well. Last week's winner, Charles Johnson, 3rd, Dean Wilkinson, 4th, Jack Walls, rounding out our top 5. Got Robert Hooligan there in 6th, Tom Dixon, Jude Conrad, 7th, 8th, Everett Lane, Eric Laurie round out our top 10. Then you got Justin Davis in that number 10 car, starts 11th. Jim Duda in 12th. Then we'll continue down the order. You've got Dale Rapp there, 13th. Ryan Decker, nice to see him back on track there, 14th. Jim Brooks, Gary Huffines, Joshua Highball, Bob Fitzgerald, Doug Webb, and Anthony Lane. And Robert Amaral is going to start shotgun tonight in the 21st position here. And yeah, so and this is, again, it's maybe going to add a little bit of some question marks on this one to me here, Brandon, is let's throw in the drivers that aren't here full time. I mean, they can play a role in more ways than one. Maybe try to steal a spot or 2 ahead of the competition. Try to push a teammate to a win or a better result. So it just depends on what, like in my, again, I'm kind of singling Ryan out, so apologies for you for that on that one, Ryan. But yeah, I mean, it gives you some opportunities here where it's like, okay, how do we want to make this happen?
Yeah, Ryan is definitely going to help that team. I see he jumped in there with Roswell, with Jim and those guys. But one thing that really caught my eye with drivers linking up with guys is that the 10 of Justin Davis, he's been running with his cousin outside of Team Bootnaka. I peeked over. He's going to be running with those guys tonight. Maybe he helps turn that Team Bootnaka around and helps push all those guys, get them up there in the top 5, because Justin Davis here in his sophomore season is doing pretty well.
Yeah, and I said I was able to kind of talk to Justin just for a little bit before we started and get prepped up, and yeah, it sounds like his cousin's out of town, so he's like, hey, you guys okay if I hop in with you guys? And I mean, it's like we kind of talked about the Area 51. There's so much, just like, yeah, man. I say if you ask, they're down to help you out. So, and I think that's what we saw there tonight. Like I said, it's one of those things. Don't be shy if you need some help, or if you just want to maybe learn something from those guys. Usually, you can ask, and they're more likely than not going to let you hop in their Discord and kind of saying it's fun. It's a nice little hang, and yeah, it's gonna be fun to see how this one pans out though tonight.
Yeah, and he's gonna benefit from that. You know, you don't want to pit alone with no teammates at super speedways, let alone a couple races before the playoffs, and really hurt yourself. And Cody Nagel's going to be running once again tonight with the TW guys, so we can see a couple TW guys up there already with Dean Wilkinson, Charles Johnson, Gabe Butler, the lone guy up there. So he's really going to have to be on it tonight. A little bit different strategy than he had Friday. Friday he started at the back. Tonight he's going to start it on the pole.
Yeah, and initially I thought Gabe was going to actually start from the back again tonight, but he just decided to wait a little longer to hop out on track. And I am looking on the Discord side, like you mentioned, the driver numbers in the channels, and I was gonna say the lowest I see is 4 drivers in Roswell and Silver Fox. I do see, which I'm a little surprised by, I see Jim Duda kind of off on his lonesome in Discord. I'm surprised that I believe last week I thought he was working with Cody and them. So a little bummer that he's not hanging out with those guys, but we're getting to it here in the restart zone. Green flag is out. We are underway against 75 scheduled laps here tonight at Daytona. And right now we'll see who's going to get through the gears first to try to get that opening bonus point here.
Very good start there for that outside. Just getting a little bit of edge ahead, but that inside line will go right back to the front. And as we start to see these guys get up to speed, for you guys that didn't tune in Friday night, we had one heck of a show on Friday night, one heck of a finish. It was a nail biter. You didn't get to see it, hop over on the channel, go watch that, because I want to see Gael, if any teammates say, hey, I'm not going to let you win here tonight like I maybe would, how many tensions are rolling over here as the 55 and the 16 coming right back on the outside lane as they go through turn 3.
Yeah, so far, like you said, pretty much the 180-ish mile an hour pace lap here. Again, got to build that momentum up, and now it's that drag to the line. Who's going to lead lap 1? And it looks like it will go to Gabe Butler by just about a bumper, I'd say, at most. So add that 1 bonus point to the 88 car. And again, it's not how it's going to end, but right now with that bonus point, Cody had that 1-point lead going into it. They would actually be tied on points as they run right now. But again, we've got 74 minimum laps to go in this race, so we'll see how it turns out once we get to the completion. And again, they're not worried about that right now. They're feeling good on the regular season. They're ready to go after those points in the playoffs. So, and again, everybody's going to reset to the same number in the top 12. No bonus points for wins or anything like that. Everybody's going to reset to the exact same number.
Yeah, and it may not be, like you said, these guys right here, a lot of laps to go, but I'm really wanting to see how aggressive Dean is. He's been really aggressive on his pit stops. How aggressive is he going to be tonight? He really needs to get a win. He's sitting 15th in points a bubble. A win would really, really, really help that 55. So I wonder how long before those guys say, hey, let's keep the 55 up front and keep his nose clean.
Yeah, and that's a tough one for the TW drivers because like you were talking about, is Dean's on the outside looking in, Charles Johnson's on the bubble, and the next car in line to also try to work his way in is Bob Fitzgerald in the 08. So they have 3 cars right now in that cutoff. So really what they really need just a whole solid team effort to get all 3 of them in there. I'm trying to check to see also where Tom Dixon is in this one. So I'm not sure if he's had the best of seasons. I don't know if he's made all the races even. Yeah, no, Tom's actually I think is only his 3rd race actually. So Tom could be a big helper. I mean, again, you can see qualified in the top 10. There's running 4th on the inside line. So yeah, I'll say this is where Tom Dixon maybe hasn't made all the races, but again, can play a huge role for his TW teammates here. So that's a really good opportunity for them to have that big helper. And like I said, if I'm the TW drivers, you want to have all your guys top 5, top 10 selfishly. Just maybe jump some of those guys who are sitting 8th, 9th in points, because we talked about it's really tight.
Yeah, a very, very tight. And this is where you brought up with the 48 of Ryan Decker coming back and running tonight. Jim Brooks is sitting right there behind Dean Wilkinson. Nothing better than having a 4th guy and a really great pusher like Ryan Decker, which could really fit into Roswell's strategy. We talk about Team Bootnaka, how they come down together as a group. It's really good. The strategy and how quickly the 55 in those groups, how close they can really cut it to the line. But what Roswell can do is really stretch that fuel mileage. They always seem to like they can go an extra lap or 2. So having the 48 can maybe kick that strategy right back in the hand and see if they can pull out something smooth here.
And that's a really good point, Brandon, because also you talk about the fuel mileage. That is something that these drivers will need to look at a little bit. I was hearing it's right on that 24, 25 lap margin on fuel. So if you're in this pack right now, like again, if you're kind of where an Everett Lane is, or I'm also been watching closely Justin Davis, I think these guys are some of those guys are in the really, to me, the catbird seat for pit stop strategy, able to run the inside line, save lots of fuel here, and then go that maybe lap even to 26, if you will, turn this thing into a 2-stop race. Because again, if you have to make that extra stop without a yellow, that's going to be night over. So there's definitely no short pitting on this one. You're going to have to try to stretch this thing out all the way, which means for us, Brennan, if we go green all the way to the pit stop cycle, it is going to be a lot of cars hitting the pit road at once.
Yeah, it can get really chaotic really, really fast. and it can change your night. As you see the 88, he's going to jump right back down in front of the 9 and continue to lead the inside lane. And that is a great point. We've seen it on Friday. Some guys cut it right to the wire with coming to the pit stops. Some guys struggled coming out of pit road. The apron's so big here at Daytona, you spin it coming off a pit road, you're not going to get the caution that you want. And we've seen quite a bit of guys never really have that chance to bounce back due to the pit stop situations and the problems that they had, even when they had teammates go back to help them. So these guys really going to have to be on it tonight. Dean Wilkinson going to have to cut it as close as he did on Friday night to win the race.
Yeah, say Dean Wilkinson and pit road entry. I say it definitely has been a stout combination. You see a little further back, unfortunately, Anthony Lane, he's lost the draft there. And also looks like maybe a little bit of nose damage to that 81 course. Maybe got into the back of somebody maybe on the initial kick. And that was probably affecting the drafts of the car. So usually if there's a car with a dented nose, there's a car somewhere with a dented bumper in the back. And so that's what I'm trying to spy on, see maybe who he got into the back of. But everybody looked fairly clean, but unfortunately that's going to put Anthony in a bad spot in two ways. Again, pending we go green. One, he's losing the draft way down on pace, and then also he's going to burn more fuel because he can't do any fuel saving. So there's a good chance he may actually have to hit pit road before that lap 25 mark. So we'll definitely keep an eye on the 81, but hopefully able to recover. And right now, not a lot of change up in the field. It's pretty much everybody's about +1, +2. The only driver that's made a couple spots is that 714 of Doug Webb. I say he's up 4 spots at the moment, right behind that 48 we just mentioned of Ryan Decker. And got to mention also, we had first YouTube chat there rooting on Ryan, and that is from Kennedy. So glad to have you watching and supporting Ryan. And yeah, let's say we'll definitely be keeping an eye on him throughout the race tonight.
Yeah, Ryan, he always runs really good when he runs here at Area 51, and at one point he had a hidden recipe on his car that we never got to see, and I'm glad to have Ryan back here and running with these guys. And what would it mean to some of these drivers? You've been racing on the bubble, and you have a guy like that coming in still one. It puts the pressure so much more onto a driver as these races go on. Friday, we seen a truck blow up for the first time, and I can't tell you how many races here. So the pressure's starting to mount, and you just start adding new drivers. And some of these guys haven't been really, might not have raced around Ryan recently. And, so it starts to put even more pressure onto the drivers. And what I want to see is who's going to take it to the third lane here at Daytona. On Friday, we seen the third lane didn't come to till 5 laps ago, and that's when chaos begun. So who's going to really take advantage and try to jump up there and gain those spots?
And that's going to be the big question, I think, because right now, again, with that fuel number the way it is, I'm kind of wondering if these guys aren't showing their full hand right now. And I think a lot of these guys probably in practice ran the field numbers, said, hey, we're really close to make this on a 2-stopper. And like we said, you don't want to add that extra stop. So this could be even one of those things where maybe the driver's going to try to fight to go instead of 25, 26 laps. Maybe someone like a Jack Walls, who's also notoriously a good fuel saver, and he tries to pull off that lap 27 pit stop. So there's going to be a lot of strategy as well to figure out when to make those moves and make that fuel saving. But what we do know is 99% of the time you're going to get better fuel mileage running that inside line. And it's not going to be just kind of running the short distance. It's also going to be the way you save the fuel. I have to still try to learn a little bit as I've been able to do these races, and it's not one of those things where you floor it, then you lift, you floor it, you lift. You want to basically try to stay as smooth part throttle as you can all the way around the track, maybe running 2/3, 3/4 throttle if you can get away with it, because that's going to be the way you actually save the most amount of fuel in these cars. So that's just one of those things some of these guys are very, very good at, and there'll be times where when I've had some chances to race, we'll all be talking, okay, how much fuel do you have? And it'll be one of those things where somebody will have like half a gallon more fuel than me, and in my mind I'm just thinking, man, what are you doing differently than me to just save that much more? So it's impressive what these guys are able to pull.
Yeah, and to be able to keep your foot, a lot of times when you're racing these cars, you want to go, I want to go fast, Ricky Bobby, but it's to get your foot to stay like that, not just push full throttle. It's really a mental thing, because as you said, I've tried it too, and next thing you know, I look down and I'm full throttle again. So it comes into how talented these drivers are, and as Charles Johnson spoke up, it gets a little bit of a wiggle coming in. coming into the trioval. But as he said, it's kind of like having that egg under that pedal, and not pushing too hard and cracking the egg. So a lot of time and effort goes into these things, and you can tell, just from just the different of winners we've had this season.
And I saw right there too, as they were heading to turn one of the angles there, I was able to just catch some flames shoot at the exhaust of one of the cars, kind of mid-pack, and flames mean they were lifting off the throttle. So again, right there, that it kind of tells you, okay, there's a little bit of fuel save going on there. But yeah, no, like you said though, right there, you saw, and we talked about that bump. These cars, sometimes you get a bump, and it really unsettles the car. And Jack got into the back of Charles just a little bit. Again, you see right there, this time Jack got a bump from Cody, and that upset Jack's car. So these cars, again, maybe it's a little bit of the tire wear. We are 14 laps into it, but already the bumps are starting to get these cars a little more unsettled than we saw at the early points of this race.
Yeah, good point. And now, Gael, with you doing the fuel saving, and I know it's a different vehicle with the truck, but we've seen these guys not take right side tires. They were taking the left side tires to make those pit stops even faster. So these guys that are saving, can they afford to take those right side tires? Would that completely wash away their whole strategy, taking the right side tires? And is that worth it at the end? If, like Everett said, it was so hard, it was washing up no matter, more than he thought it would, just because of how bad the grip was.
I would lean towards probably still left side. Really, the magic number is just, it's all about what the max fuel you can put in these cars, because if you have enough fuel, see Charles are just able to clear across the nose of Jack there entering one. But it's basically all what happens is, if you have to plug that second can of fuel in, at that point you can take the right side tires and you'll be okay. However, there's a lot of times where if it's just a one can of fuel, then at that point that's where you're probably not going to want to do that, because that's when you would wait on the tires. So, and there's also the kind of the trains of thought too, where in general right side tires usually will free up the car, and I'm talking more of course on like the 1.5 mile oval type situations, but I feel like that does apply as well. Oh, you see there, Jack's going to go a little bit off-roading. Everybody's going to try to react here. We'll see if they're able to hang on to it. Everybody's going to stay pointed in there. Oh, got one that caught the wall just a tiny bit. I think that may have been Joshua Highbaugh, I think, potentially. But again, just the bump drafts are really starting to unsettle the cars. But man, there's a couple guys that really capitalized on all of that there, Brandon. Because look at now up spots there. Jim Duda now up 10 positions into second. Ryan Decker up now 9 spots into that top 5. So really good job by those guys, able to work through. And it looks like the field should all stay together here. But actually looking around, I missed something in this whole process. Is Bob Fitzgerald, he's lost the draft here in that 08 car. I think maybe had a internet connection hiccup, I'm not sure. But I saw someone have a blink earlier. But yeah, now just unfortunately noticing Bob way off the pack here. So that's going to put him and Anthony Lane now in a bad spot.
Yeah, I definitely think we see the strategy you're talking about maybe coming into play here. It looks like some of the guys, like you said, yeah, they're definitely on that mode where they're just about 3/4 throttle, and some of these guys are definitely not, as we can see the 55 still staying up front, the 9, and now the 33 has moved up there. The 16 was up there now, but he's sitting in 7th. So the 48 has also made his way back up here. So somebody that says, hey, I'm not here to fuel save or risk. I'm here. I'm coming to come up here and spoil the party. So he's moved forward quite a bit.
Yeah, I know some great spots gained by Ryan as well, like you said, on the strategy. And you can see this. Oh man, I'll say this isn't. If I'm the 81 here, I would have rather run the top line, because what he's doing right here is he's going to lose so much time, because this is a track where you cannot go flat out on the apron in the turns. And so unfortunately in doing so, he's going to completely miss the draft again there. Whereas if he was able to run the top side, and you see Gabe there, he's going to jump to the inside here, hop in front of that 33. If he was able to run that third lane, he could have tried to slot down, because you can see he could have popped down right behind Tom Dixon even. And let's bring them up now, because again, we talked about those TW drivers looking to try to make themselves into that top 12 in the points. And now you've got the 3 of them lined up on that top side. And Tom is that pusher on the third car in line there, pushing the 2 that are the ones going for those top 12 spots. So organizational wise, that's exactly what you want to have there if you're those guys. As you see there, I think that was close with the 9 and the 88 there in the entry of 1.
Yeah, but not only that, but get those bonus points. If these guys are going to sit around and save fuel and go three-quarter throttle, if you're the 55, them bonus points, they mean a lot right now. So get up there and take advantage of it. As we can see, most of the field here, besides 3 cars, is single filed out.
Yeah, I know exactly. You see Cody now. He's going to jump up top again. Cody, another one of those working with them. And Cody's one of those drivers, again, he's got a little bit of wiggle room to play with. So he can take probably a little bit more risks. And again, with him working with these guys all season, he's probably thinking, hey, you know what? I could help them. And then come the 4 playoff races, they could actually then also be a part to help me out in this. Which is, again, this is one of those things where sometimes it's better to eliminate some competition by getting some teammates in there. I mean, that's always going to be something that's helpful. So, yeah, if he can knock out somebody from another team to get Charles in, to get Dean in, that's only going to make things better for him in that 4-race playoff. As you see, it looks like Anthony Lane went ahead and hit pit road. He's got that fast spread taken. But once again, though, trapped on that apron, just cannot catch these guys at the right time. And once again, I think that's going to cost him the draft here one more time. It's just one of those things where I think at this point, he's probably thinks like, man, if I could catch a break with this, as they say, they see a big wiggle there from the 55. Again, a little push from the 411 just got him a bit unsettled. But here you go, though, Brandon. Fuel window, I'm going to say 4 laps. That window's going to open. And now it's going to be, again, are we going to see 20 cars hit pit road together? Or are we going to see maybe a pack of 5 or so try to run that one extra lap?
Yeah, and I think maybe that's why the 411 was pushing the 55 so hard, so maybe they could catch the 9 and maybe slip down in front of them. We see that sometimes a guy can really lift off and get a couple cars down. If you time the run perfectly, that they're going to have to make a decision here real quick, as the 9, he's just going to stay there and they're going to stay out an extra lap. But Dean in the 411, they are using quite a bit of fuel trying to hustle and stay up there on that outside lane. So you're going to have to get this strategy figured out, because you don't want to be trying to pit from the second lane and the guy below you is not pitting. So TW is going to have to figure something out, because we're about 2 to 3 laps away from pit stop.
Yeah, and you see right there, Tom, I think he's trying to find somewhere to slot in. Cody's trying to cut him a little bit of slack there, too. The one I was watching was Joshua Highball. He'd been running the inside line, and then he's gone ahead and hopped up there to the top. Or sorry, he's running the inside line. Now he's hopped up top, trying to gain some track position, too. But again, now it's just trying to find somewhere to slot in. And so, yeah, right now you're kind of between a rock and a hard place right now if you're the 55, the 411, the 16. Because you want to get in. But again, though, we talked about if you can keep your competition out of there, that's going to be what these guys are going to have to do. They need to be greedy and try to find somewhere to kind of keep them pinned out there. I just saw Joshua Highball able to jump in front of, I think it was his teammate DL Rapp. So everything he gained pretty much had to give it back up there. So yeah, right now it's going to be up to these 3 on that outside line. Can they do anything? But again, looking at teammates, the only one that they could try to work with is Charles Johnson in that number 9 car. And pace-wise, I'm going to say these guys aren't running full song right now. About a 47.40 last time by, Brandon. A lot of their best laps were in the low 47 flats. So, and you can see that now, because look at the momentum shift back to that top side. I think these guys are, like you said, I think Charles is trying to see if he can back this pace down just enough. Maybe get his teammates in line here before pit stops.
Yeah, and not only that, and they know if they got to cut it close, that team is pulled off cutting it close pit stops. So I just don't think they're going to be able to get a run. You don't, as we talk about here so much, the 411 has to do something. But Cody Nagels is very important on this too, and the 411 just to me is not. You gotta keep it really, really straight to get them 3 cars close enough where Cody doesn't want to get up there in lap 22 and put himself so close that he might, you never know with netcode or anything, and cause an accident this early. So as you can see right there, just the 411 just not settled enough in right now for that. I think that outside lane to really make that progression forward.
Yeah, he's trying really hard to push Dean for all his weapons. But here you go, though. This is the opportunity they were hoping for, because this is going to be a good chunk of the field hitting in this first time around. Looks like, you see right there, I think that was Robert Hooligan just trying to avoid any contact. And then, yeah, so that was exactly what they were hoping for, is to try to get themselves lined up to go that one extra lap. So that's going to be this group here, from Tom Dixon to Gary Huffines, all of them still in this draft. Robert and Gary going to have to hustle a little bit to get up to Jim Brooks. But now we'll look at pit stops here, and I saw the lefts go down on the 9. Gabe is rolling already too. And so we'll see how organized they're able to get. You see Gabe probably by far the best out of all of these guys. A little bit of flirting with that yellow line on exit. Can't go around it. And so far, it looks like pretty well everybody there. I think Justin Davis is going to be the odd man out on this one. Now we go to the next group. Here comes Dean. He's going to run all the way to the outside. We'll see if he woes it down in time. So far, same thing. Looks like nice and organized by these guys. Now you've got to remember where you qualified, Brandon. Make sure you get yourself slotted in line. You see everybody's trying to get themselves situated, and everybody's hitting their pit stalls nicely here.
Yeah, and it's very difficult to do. You can see the 101, he overshot there a little
Dean
bit.
overshot.
55, yeah, overshoots too. So Bob Fitzgerald already on his way out. Only left side tire is going to be for the 16 and the 55, and here they go. These guys are getting hustled back up. Ryan Decker, that hasn't been here in a couple weeks, good pit stop, comes out 3 positions ahead of where he came in at, so going to be a good start. But these guys got to get lined up. It looks like those guys were coming through the trioval.
Yep, so we'll jump out the back here of Cody, and you're going to look in that background. You can just see him start to creep into the picture, but so far so good for Cody because he's going to start to build up steam. He's probably going to get a nice little shot, I would guess, here from Ryan, kind of help build that momentum back up there. So you can see a great shot of Ryan. There's that almost that Jaws theme helmet, and here comes the guys that pitted that lap earlier. There's Gabe, there's Charles, and you got Everett Lane in that mix as well. And so, yeah, there they go. They're going to take those top 3 spots. Dude Conrad are going to try to join along with them, but I'm going to say job done, though. I think that's going to get these guys in that main pack, and the ones that have some work to do is going to be Jim Brooks, Gary Huffines, Robert Amaral, Joshua Highball. They need to push really aggressively, like you talked about earlier. They got to stay locked onto each other. Right now, that 51 needs the 00 to get a little tighter, because right now at this point, they are not quite close enough. It's ticking slowly the right way, but they want it to go a little quicker. But I think they will be safe, though.
Yeah, and one of the, you don't want to lose the pack, but one thing, when we start to run through these pit stops, and if we start to lose cars from the packs, that just less chances of a caution. And if you lose this pack and we start to get spread out, it's just so hard to get them positions back when it stays green. With the drivers that we have here. So it looks like they are going to start to catch on. Looks like Dude is going to be the friendly one here to maybe be the middleman in the situation to pull those cars right on back.
Yeah, so it looks like we should still have 17 in this group once everything cycles through. We'll keep an eye and make sure 100%. Unfortunately, 2 that have lost the pack, though. That 10 of Justin Davis, the 411 of Tom Dixon as well. And then, like you'd mentioned, you saw the 08 of Bob Fitzgerald. He had to pit by himself there. So that's going to put him down. I believe this will be the first lap down that he gets put in that 08 car. So that said, that would put him in that lucky dog position. And this is what he needs to do right here, is he needs to stay up top there and then try to find someone to slot in here, maybe behind that 8 car you just talked about, just to make sure you do not lose the drive. See how 24 there, I think maybe got a little wiggle with maybe a little bit of contact with the 16 here. Saw Cody try to jump to the top there. Hasn't had any friends go with him yet, though. Again, he's looking for Dean, he's looking for Charles, but neither have hopped up at the moment.
Yeah, these cars, they look like they're fun to drive, but it looks like they're a little on the edge, and that really keeps the driver on the steering wheel. And as we start to get that snake, that works out here on lap 29, lap 30. That's okay. But when we get to lap 65, you start doing that snake. Guys say, hey, that hole's taken. You're not just going to slide back in here. As we can see the 9 and 16 get together, they're going to try to get by the 88 and the 24 here.
Yeah, I mentioned, I said Cody's looking for a friend, and he's finally found that friend in Charles Johnson. Charles said, yep, let me hop up in front. Again, he saw that bump just a little off center there. Charles will lead that lap. Not sure if he's led one yet or not, but if not, he definitely got that one there in that number 9. And again, talked about it. He moved himself up into that 12th position during the during that last race with his win. So that bonus point is going to be crucial for him. And actually, because we got to find our money lap, because I totally blanked on this one, Brandon. So let me go hunt it back down here. And it is, money lap's going to be lap 35, so we're 5 away from that money lap. So glad I kind of had a quick memory of it. Went to take a look. Oh, Bob Fitzgerald, actually, I'm showing him. Oh, yeah, he's off on the apron here. Not sure what's happened to Bob. A couple, looks like. I'm going to go back and check for... Oh, yeah, actually, he and Jim, and I think we just talked about the bumps going wrong here. Let's watch on the 08 here in the 51. And yeah, that's an odd one. It almost looks like he goes down to the apron. Oh yeah, catches the 51. So that's an odd one there. So somehow stays green. I don't know how Jim hang on to that car there. Double Zero does some off-roading there, but in all of that craziness though, Brandon, that unfortunately cost a bunch of cars the draft here. So we'll jump back on board here. So you see Doug Webb and Robert Amaral and Joshua Highball, they've lost the draft. And of course we mentioned Jim Brooks there, Gary Huffines as well, adding them to that list. So we're now down to 13 cars on this lead pack here, unfortunately. So yeah, so that's going to change things up. But again, so lap 35, the completion of 35, going to be that money lap. But again, also looking at bonus points for some of these drivers.
Yeah, how about the 51 telling the 16, hold my beer? I've been watching you the last couple weeks. Let me show you what I can do over here in this Area 51 machine. One heck of a save there by Jim. As soon as I was watching it, and as soon as you said it, I was getting ready to say the same thing. I couldn't believe he hung on to that and didn't tear that race car up. But unfortunately for this situation there for the 08, hopefully he can get that figured out. But we got a race here, and once again, no, I want to see the third lane, Gael. I want to see one of those guys in the back get up there. Let's get this thing. Let's see what we got here. Maybe we ain't got to go a couple laps, but let's just see what the drivers around you gonna do with some 3-wide racing and see if we can maybe steal a bonus point or get up there and get that bonus lap money.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly it. I feel like somebody's going to go after it soon. I was about to say someone's going to go for it, but that wasn't a lane change. That was a bump lane change there. And again, it shows you, again, these guys are working together, and it's not that they're bumping badly. It's just these cars, if you bump them, sometimes it's good. Sometimes you get that little bit of an unsettle. And look at this, though. Gabe's going to hop in front of Charles Johnson there. That's going to give Everett Lane the inside line. Is this, again, was Everett getting hot, or is this Gabe saying, hey, you know what? If we control both lanes, we can try to make sure that money lap goes to one of the two of us here. So we'll see, though. Again, they still, next time by, they'll take the lap, but the one after will be the completion of that lap. That's the one we care about. So we got 2 laps here until we see who will have the lead there at that lap.
I'm gonna go ahead and pick now. The 48 steals it from him. Right there. Comes in and steals the bonus. Picking the 48.
We'll keep it on Ryan, see if he can maybe push that 24 clear, grab some extra bucks for him. But yeah, I do want to see, does someone else try to make that move? And really, the opportunities that I think we might see here will be, do we see Charles jump to that third lane with Cody going with him, try to put Gabe's, kind of stick him in the middle? But no, there you go. Gabe's going to jump back down. I think got the temps cooled off for that 24 car. They're going to stay lined up. So again, this is lap 35. So the completion of this lap will be the one that tells us who is able to get that. So at the moment, between that 88 and the 24, so I think that's going to put Ryan in a tough spot here, unfortunately, for this one. But we'll see. They also got some traffic up ahead. That is Tom Dixon in that 411. Again, I expect Tom to go up to the wall there, but he's going to probably give one of these lanes a little bit of a draft. Could wind up being their favor here coming to the line.
Yeah, and if anybody's going to benefit, it's going to be the 9. It looks like the 4, he went up there, 411 just went up there and got out of the way, and Ben going to be a little bit respectful here as these guys. Is this going to get tight coming through the tri-oval?
And at the line's gonna, oh man, actually, I'm not sure who got it there at the line. It was tight between Gabe and Charles, so it might be one of those ones, and kind of have to go back to the replay camera on that one. I'm going to go back one more time here. We'll try to see if we can get a good look at it here. We'll pause it best I can at the line just to check it out. Again, this isn't the finish of the race, but everybody wants to steal a little bit of cash if they can here, Brandon. I want to say it was going to be Charles, and yeah, I'm going to say that is definitely Charles in that number 9 car, getting that money lap taken care of. So now we'll see. Do you think they settle back in, or are we going to see same verse round 2 here?
I can't. You can see a lot of the offset here, and the outside lane, we're just watching it, and as these laps been going forward, ooh, got a little bump there. But I can't tell. It's so hard to tell with, are they not really pushing that hard? Is the cars, how are the cars handling? But I wonder about temps. We've seen the first time iRacing, updates every single week, and we can see Gabe here dropping out. Maybe is that because of temps?
I'm
But you
thinking
can
that
see
might be
that
fuel.
fuel.
I'm thinking he's probably trying to save fuel. Now I think he said, all right, I'm going to push hard, try to see if I can get that bonus lap or the money lap. And he's like, okay, ran for it. Now I'm going to try to save some fuel to make sure I get to the lap 50 mark. I think that was probably what we see out of that 88.
Yeah, it's just outside lane. I mean, right there, they went pretty hard there to go for the bonus, but it just hasn't. Even earlier we seen it with the 411. Maybe the alignment wasn't that great. But it just looks like it's a little bit tougher to push up there. So I don't know. Maybe these guys just saying, hey, let's settle back down and let's get to the finish. We only got 13 cars right now in this pack. Let's not lose any more. And speaking of losing teammates, when out of all that happened, the 83 up there, he's looking around. He needs a teammate.
Yeah, so right now he's working with that 33. I do see Ryan Decker. He's still hiding in that mix. And so, yeah, then again, everybody pitted in a 2-lap window, so there's not a lot of strategy difference here. But basically, Cody pitted at 25. Charles Johnson was 24. Jack Walls was 25. And so, again, the driver I mentioned, Gabe Butler in the 88 car, he pitted on 24. So he had he ran one less lap on fuel than Cody and Jack. So, again, maybe since he ran so hard trying to get that top spot, said, you know what, I probably burned a lot. I got to make sure I get to that lap 50 mark. So I think that's what we're seeing out of that 88 car, just making sure, like I said, he fought the short-term battle. Now he's got to make sure he's prepared for the long-term as well.
Man, what a position to be in. Second
Good push
second
there by
race.
33 too.
Yeah, definitely to get the 83 clear there. But what a position to be in, second to last race before the playoffs in a race like this, where if you're not right, you might run out of fuel if it stays green. We still never know what's going to happen, but just thinking long term with how the race has gone, man. As a driver, you talk about having some patience, man. This is where it's really going to see how much patience you really have.
Yeah, you see right now, unfortunately, that 10 of Justin Davis, he's going to get put that lap down. And now for Justin, he's going to have to fight, though, because that purple car, black car on the inside right in front of Gabe, that's Tom Dixon. That is his competition. So right now, Justin has it. And then as they come through 3 and 4, I believe it's probably going to turn to the tide of Tom. However, he has one thing going in his favor, and that's that 33 of Jim Duda. He's stealing that draft off him. And so now his job probably at this point is, hey, I got to stay aggressive. I need to draft to that 33 because if I can stay up ahead of those guys on the inside line, that's got me ahead of that 411 just in case something were to happen. And again, though, for the pit window, still about 10 more laps before we see these drivers start to jump in.
Yeah, and not only that, with sticking with that group up there, you can, like you said, if the caution does come out, but you get to stay up there, you can battle for it up. And here we're going to see the 9. He's going to fall out of line here too. And you think fuel's going to be that? Man, is it just fuel that close? You think that these guys are like, hey, I got to get back here and save?
I think so, and I'm a little worried there. He backed off maybe too much here because he's already about 7/10, and it's dropping quick on that 9 car. So as I said, the problem is now for him, he backed off maybe too much there. He's going to have to he's going to burn a ton of fuel just to catch back up to Doug Webb. But I will tell you, though, it was lap 24 as well for Charles Johnson. So I feel like Charles and Gabe were the ones that were up front the majority of that run after the pit stop. So probably burned the most fuel, and it looks like Charles is just going to hang on here, stay on the back of that lead draft. But unfortunately for the 10 car of Justin Davis, the 33 of Jim Duda, he was able to get to that inside lane and clear himself. And so that's going to now put advantage over to Tom Dixon. Right as I say that, you see Tom now just that nose ahead. Gabe's going to try to give Justin a slot. There he goes. Again, Justin is working with the boot knockers tonight, so Gabe doing him a solid there and letting him on in, and also helps Gabe probably lift a little bit, save that little teeny bit of fuel. But Brandon, before we get to pit stops, we got everybody lined up single file so we can run through the field, show off these beautiful paint schemes, and talk about the drivers. And that is going to start with that 33 of Jim Duda. Right now, he is plus 11 into the lead. Right behind him, Jack Walls. We've talked about Jack a lot this evening. He sits in that number 2 spot there. He's up 3 spots from his beginning spot. Cody Nagel started second, running in third. Points leader by 1 point entering tonight. Then you got Everett Lane, our winner on Friday night. He is in that top 5 in 4th. And then our part-timer Ryan Decker rolling in the top 5 in that 5th position. So like I said, not much rust looks like to shake off of that Ghost Energy machine. Dale Rapp, solid run for him so far in that number 52, up 7 spots into 6th. Dean Wilkinson on the outside looking in on the points, so he's got to have a good race tonight to try to jump himself into that top 12. Gabe Butler came in tonight 1 point behind Cody Nagels and 1 spot behind him. But again, though, he's thinking big picture right now. I think trying to make sure that he gets that field number to the pit stop. Teammate Dude Conrad right behind him started in 8th, running in 9th. Another teammate Eric Laurie right where he started in 10th. And then you've got Robert Hooligan there in the 11th position. Doug Webb in 12th. He's up 7 spots in that number 714 machine. And Charles Johnson was able to get back up into this main pack. You see one jumping off to pit road. That's Anthony Lane. Charles right now, though, in 13th. Then we got to go back a ways. Robert Amaral there. He is in 14th position. Lost the draft, unfortunately, there through the pit cycle. Same with Joshua Highball, working together, though, to try to minimize that time loss. Then we go back to Jim Brooks, who's finally got some help. He kind of got the chrome green machines together there. Jim Brooks and Gary Huffine sitting 16th and 17th when we saw that incident that unfortunately just weren't able to were able to save the cars, but no yellow. That kind of cost them a bunch there. Then we jump to the cars 1 lap down. Tom Dixon right now is that first one ahead. Just saw Dean Wilkinson a little bit of right rear damage to that 55 car, though. And then Justin Davis 1 spot right behind him, that tantalizingly close to try to be in that lucky dog position. And then Anthony Lane, we just saw he just hit pit road, rolling off of pit road. Now he is off sequence again due to that damage he had early on. And unfortunately, it looks like Bob Fitzgerald has retired from the event this evening. So that is going to be our 20 driver still on track. And Bud, good to see you on the chat. Hope you are doing well and look forward to seeing you back going soon. And Brandon, I may have missed something because, man, there was a decent gap there between the top 2 and 3rd place there when we came back to it.
Yeah, they have definitely gained a little bit of space here, and maybe they're just saying, hey, we're going to risk it for the biscuit. You know, like whatever happens, happens. And I would kind of be in the same way too, right? Because if you're saving to get right to make it to lap 50, that means you're just going to be the next thing is going to be to save to lap 75. But you're not going to be able to save on lap 74 or 75 if you want to win the race. I mean, if you're going to you're going to just ride around the last lap. So I like this movement by Jack Walls. You know, these guys I think are going to right here just stay up front, be aggressive, and don't be back there. Them guys back there, as we talk about at Daytona, when these guys get single filed out for pit stops, that's about a 2-second gap right there. You can lose the draft coming in 2 seconds if they all come together.
Yeah, you can see right now the 51 and the 00 here kind of stuck up on the top side. They're going to try to find somewhere to slot down. The hope was probably to try to stay ahead of Tom Dixon and Justin Davis. Not going to happen, though. They're going to continue to cycle a little further back there. So now is 4 cars on for the Lucky Dog battle, 1 lap down, and they're all right on top of each other there. So that'll be a battle within a battle. And you mentioned, it's a really good point you mentioned there as well, though, Brandon, because there's some drivers that have been kind of, in my mind, have been kind of cruise control in this whole run that pitted on 25. I look at Dale Rapp, I look at Dean Wilkinson, Ryan Decker is also in a good spot. If they've been saving fuel, maybe they can go that 1 extra lap and pit with, let's say, 23 to go or 24 to go. That way they could run full rich all the way to the end. So that would be an interesting one to see as well. See if anybody's going to stretch it, maybe that 1 extra lap to hit pit road. That way then from there they can just basically not even have to stress about fuel. They just go balls to the wall all the way to the end.
Yeah, and I think that's where like the 55 and the way they've pitted this year, you know, you've seen it on Friday. They got out there a little bit. Yes, they did get caught, but in a race like tonight, where these guys, if they're in this fuel saving mode where, you know, they're gonna be back here the whole way, then force them to push it. You know, especially if you stay that lap after, you know, try to get out there and make those guys, you know, not be able to ride around. So as soon as they come on a pit road, teammates got to be locked together and they got to be full throttle and making sure they catch them, because they've executed pit road exit very, very well this season. And this right here is where it could come into play, as we see a couple guys coming down right now. Looks like about
Yeah, this
three
is
cars.
early. I don't like this at all because these guys cannot make it to the end here from this pit stop because they're pitting with 26 to go. So yeah, so this is going to be a tough position. And once again, I believe I'm going to jump back to this pit entry because I think when that pit entry happened, I think something happened around Gabe here. So let's go back. We'll take a look. So I swear I saw, no, okay, it's just everybody was peeling off, and so that lost him his gap a little bit. So, all right, so no worse for wear. Just, yeah, I was a little bit concerned there. So, yeah, so unfortunately, I don't like the position that Jim and Robert were in there because, again, it's a lap earlier than I'd like to see. This week coming in 25 to go be right on the edge. We're going to have a couple takers, and I think I saw a few more staying out, which is what I wanted to see. And so here you go, big group coming in pit road. Looks like pretty much the main pack. But these are the guys I want to watch right here. And the best part is they've got Tom Dixon in the mix too. So these are the guys they're going to be pitting coming to lap 20, or sorry, coming to 24 to go. They'll be able to, I think, they'll be able to hustle it all the way to the end of the race. So now for Dean and for Ryan, they're going to do exactly what they're doing right now. Push aggressively, try to get that really, really big in lap. And then, of course, they'll be able to have a lot more wiggle room for pit entry, kind of space each other out, and we'll see how they cycle out with the other guys that had just come in.
Yeah, really gonna have to execute it here. You don't want to try to be making so much of a gap that you make a mistake here. But they got it pretty well here. Good 3-wide entry, and here you go, lock up. Good job, Ryan Decker. Seeing a little bit of the smoke, which let him know, hey, a little bit of lock up in front of me. Doesn't get back into the 55, but still stays close. Now they got to make sure they don't overshoot their box.
Yeah, it looks like nice, clean entry for Ryan. Saw Dean had to back up the first time. No issues there. Same thing for Tom Dixon. Nailed the stops for the three of them. The guys they're chasing is a little bit of a breakaway. Cody Nagels, Everett Lane, Jack Walls now just catching them. So they have not had a big pack lined up together. That could be the advantage that these three were looking for. They're a little separated, but I think this is going to keep them right on, kind of right on the window here. So that's what we're going to be watching right now is to see. We'll watch out the back of Dean Wilkinson, and we're looking again. We're going to be looking for that train of cars there. You can see him coming through 1 and 2 now. Dean's just trying to pedal this thing to make sure no unsafe exit, and he's going to start to build that speed up down the back. But again, you can see he's got about a second on Ryan Decker. So I think they'll be okay, but they're definitely going to have to basically stay aggressive here to hold on to this main pack. So you can see a little further back, it looks like they've got a couple lined up there. Who's that? That is Gabe and the 52 of Dale Rapp. So everybody's looks like, for the most part, bringing themselves all back into the mix here. So I'm going to say job done for those top, looks like top 11 cars are going to be good to go here. Hopefully Tom Dixon can stay tagged on there. He's right on the edge here. But of the lap down cars, though, he by far did the best. So he's just got to hope that he can tag onto the back of these guys. And the ones that pitted early that I talked about, Jim Duda, unfortunately, he is now off on his own. Same thing with Robert Hooligan and Joshua Highbaugh. That was, again, it was just too early for those guys to hit pit road. That was what my concern was. But here you go, though. These guys, they're ready to start going. Look at Doug Webb. He's got Eric Laurie. And we've got a train roll on that top side, Brandon.
Yeah, and to bounce back to the Dean, yeah, those guys, we seen how hard those other groups were pushing after their pit road. There was big groups separated, 2-3 car packs, where they had to be on it to make sure they stuck and caught back up. Compared to the 55 and those guys, they just kind of fell into all these drivers. So now as you see the 55's back there, and the 48's a little bit further up, but these guys are a lap, he's got a lap more of fuel. And now these guys were pushing a little bit harder. So if I'm the 55, that tells me come lap 2 or 3, I can really push it because I got more than these guys in front of me.
Yeah, exactly right. And this is now where exactly that. It's at some point he can maybe try to force the pace of this race a little bit. That said, I don't think there's really much saving being done anymore from where we're at. I can tell you, I believe Tom Dixon might still be around the edge of the draft, but this is quite the lucky dog battle right now that we've got, Brandon, because you got Tom Dixon leading it. Jim Brooks right behind him, then Gary Huffines, then Justin Davis. Those are the 4 drivers 1 lap down. They're all nose to tail here. And I'm sure Jim wanted to pass him there, but he decided, you know what, I got to stay with Tom here. Because first off, we got to make sure we catch this lead pack, and they've done so now. So job done for that. And then the next driver they're going to catch is going to be Robert well, I was going to say Robert Hooligan, but I think he may have either connection issue or maybe hit pit road, not sure. But unfortunately, I don't see him on my timing scoring at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on that. But I gotta say though, great timing, great move here by Doug Webb and Eric Laurie here working that top side, and now they're battling for the top spot here, and we're coming to 20 to go this time by.
Yeah, the 51, if I'm him, I'm jumping to that outside. I know you don't want to be caught up in anything, but that guy, that's the guy you're battling for the lap, the lucky dog, and the guy behind you, he's a lap down also, and he's right in front of you in points.
Tom's
So this
gonna
is
go
where,
top.
yeah, you got to get aggressive here if you're these drivers. I think on this bubble, coming down to that last race, you're asking to get a lot of points at the last spot. This is where I think the third lane's going to start to kick in. These guys haven't taken tires. These cars are going to start to become a handful really, really quickly.
Yeah, and you can see there that Doug Webb has taken over the control of this race here in that 714. Eric Laurie now to his outside. Again, these are guys looking to have finally some good luck turn their way. They've had just unfortunate, just really awful luck in both series, I feel like, these last couple of races. So we'll be keeping an eye on those guys over the course of the remainder of this one. And yeah, just trying to see, like you mentioned, the third lane win and where could it come. So, I mean, you got two teammates running 1-2 on the top side. You've got the 8 car. He's with that group as well up top. But then he's got his teammate third row on the inside, Everett Lane. Gabe Butler a couple cars back. So they've got a good chunk of them together, just not fully organized yet. But again, though, I mean, we're still down to, I mean, we still got double digits left to go. We got 19 laps here, 18 at the line. So really, I don't think there's a lot of pressure yet to make those big moves. And I think it's like you said earlier, Brennan, we're in a position where it's like, hey, we've got a 12-horse race here to try to win this race. We don't need to force the issue. And the other driver, I didn't mention, actually, I'm sorry, I mentioned Jim Duda lost the draft. He's actually back with these guys. He needs to save all the fuel he can right now. He doesn't need to make any moves. He's just got to save because he pitted up 49. Everybody else was 50 and 51. So, if I'm Jim here, you just save every drop of fuel you can this final run.
Yeah, you definitely got to save if you're the 51. But one guy that, hey, I don't think he's worried about saving or anything. Hey, he's let everybody have their own strategies. But the 714 Webb, he's bounced right up there. Got the lead as the 071 gets the 16 a little squirrely. But the 714, yet to get a win this year. He's in great position. Be aggressive. And he's right on the bubble, Gael. A win could change his whole season.
Exactly right. And he's got a teammate now right behind him as his pusher of Everett Lane. And they're coming up on a couple of cars here. I think that is going to be Joshua Heibaugh and Robert Amaral. And that's going to add 2 more drivers here, Brandon, to that lucky dog battle. So, again, you're going to now go from 4 cars to 6 cars going after this. Right now, Tom's still in the best position of those. He's that purple and black car on the top lane. Jim Brooks is next line, a few cars back. But like I said, these guys are going to start to get a little squeeze here because, again, they're going to try to make sure they can kind of get through safely, which means they're going to kind of just have to run a little tighter on one another, which, again, we can do here at Daytona. It's not an issue, but it's just one of those things where sometimes you try to be a little too nice, maybe get yourself a little bit out of line. And so you'll see, I think Cody's trying to sniff just a teeny bit of draft there, and I think it worked, though, as I see him with just a nose ahead now. And so I think he can clear, yet he's already cleared that 714, so move Doug Webb now behind him. And yeah, that was the concern I had there. The 101 and the 77 just caught the wall there in 1 and 2. I think Joshua's going to be okay. I'm a little more nervous about Robert, if he's going to hang on to that draft or not. So we might go from the 6 I mentioned to maybe just 5 cars. But man, there's a lot of dicing going on in that group. I just saw Jim Brooks starting to try to make some moves a little bit too up top. And while we looked at that, Eric Laurie found his way to the point in that John Deere machine.
And I can only imagine, I don't know if we can use the sim cams to really see inside one of the cockpit of one of these race cars, but these fellas, man, it looks like, I can assume they're smiling because it looks fun, but it looks like a handful. These guys haven't had right side tires since the beginning of the race, and these guys are moving back and forth. You don't want to overhit. Some of these guys have to save a little bit of fuel. The guys behind them, they could be in go mode. Is right here. You can see the 714, the 16 had bounced right there to the outside, and the runs look how quick the run just came with the 48. It's crazy. It doesn't look like that from, sometimes in the booth, but just how quickly those runs can come, and you can make the move there. As you can see, the 48 and the 16 both got clear of the 071.
Yeah, really good move by the both of those guys to get up front. And peeking in over on the chat there, we got the professional Sim Gaming Expo broadcaster Matt Wagner piping in the chat there. So good to see you, Matt. I got to watch you a little bit on the broadcast that they were doing over on Twitch. Got to watch you doing some of the IndyCar broadcasting. That was really fun to see. Really, I'm sure an exciting experience for you to be a part of. And and so you got to meet Ryan Kelly, one of our. He's one of the I'd say original Area 51 drivers as well. Did a lot of like the NASCAR oval, like said the 1.5 mile type races that we used to do here, and also is running the IndyCar series this season as well on the Tuesday night. So Matt was able to meet him over there out. I believe it's out in Illinois, if I have it right. I can't remember if it's Indiana or Illinois. One of those two. Apologies, I know that's going to be very offensive to those, but it looked like a really, really good time. And yeah, I'm really glad you got to be a part of that, Matt. So hope you're having a good evening. Hopefully safe travels soon. And Brandon, we're down to it here. 13 to go, be 12 at the line. And now Dude Conrad, I say he hasn't made a lot of noise tonight, but it looks like he's about ready to do so in that 8.
Yeah, not only that, but the 51 of Jim Brooks, he sees the 411. He keeps moving forward. He finally jumped to that outside lane. He understands, hey, not only is there a battle for the lead going on, but there's going on a battle for the lucky dog. And a lot of these guys got a lot to fight for here as the 411's giving the 8 a pretty good push going down the backstretch as the 48's going to jump up to get in front of him.
Yeah, really good move by Ryan here. Saw the momentum coming from that number 8 of Dude Conrad. He's going to jump top here. And we just talked about it. The best way to maybe help your teammates, if you can't push them to win, go try to get the win yourself. It's basically a 5-point difference between first and second. So if Ryan can do that, he could try to win this race. You see him kind of working on both lanes almost there for a little bit with Cody. And so you see Cody now, he's going to jump top. Ryan's going to try to block it. Cody's going to go back to the inside line. And again, we're still 12 to go here. We haven't gotten down to like the 4 or 5 to go, but these guys are already seeing what can they get away with, how aggressive do they need to be to try to win this race, and I think we just got our answer right there.
Yeah, and what I got an answer was that, hey, Ryan Decker still got it. He's been doing a little bit of Friday night football, having a good time, so we don't get to see him as much right now, but it makes me say when the next season opens up, maybe we can get Ryan Decker back, and he's going to be back to being a heavy hitter. He was making some really good moves up there before the 16 got around him, but now we can see the 071 battling right back up there with the 714. And how many of these guys that you still think are back there not really saying, hey, I'm still a little bit nervous about fuel, so I'm just going to hang back here. And when is the third lane? It's got to come about tonight, or do you think, Gael, the tires are just too bad for the third lane?
No, the third lane's gonna happen. It's what's really kind of thrown a wrench into this, in my opinion, is just the lap cars that we have. And like I said, I mean, we've got 13th place to 18th place all lapped down right now, and so they're mixed in places amongst our lead lap cars. So like I said, you can see this is a huge pack, but there's only 12 of them that are actually vying for the win of this race. So we mentioned the 411 Tom Dixon. He's first car one down right now. Jim Brooks, Gary Huffines, Joshua Highball, all those guys as well. So you're going to have to try to find some help. And I'm watching Dean. And again, we talked about Dean's on the outside looking in. He said, you know what? I think right now survival is going to be the way to win this race or make myself into the playoffs. Because I think he's kind of thinking what we're seeing right now, Brandon, at least what I'm seeing, and that's you've got such a mix of races and strategies going on right now. It's just, I feel like it's one of those things where something's going to go the wrong way just because of the fact that you're going to have those battles within battles and maybe trying to push a driver that you haven't worked with tonight. And again, we've seen how unsettled these cars get in those big pushes.
Yeah, and I think what the aggression, comes with it also is the lucky dog car, especially at super speedway. You don't have to be caught up in the wreck not to get the lucky dog. iRacing has this thing where when you're bump drafting, it registers that you hit a bump. You don't get a X for it, but it registers that you did it. And when you're bump drafting so much at these tracks, especially late in the race, if you get that notification at the wrong time and that caution comes out, you can lose the lucky dog. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think it happened to Gabe Butler on Friday night. and we seen somebody else get it. And Gabe Butler was, I mean, right there. We went back and reviewed. He did get a bump right before, right as the caution is happening. So, and I think that's where the aggression maybe is coming from, the 411 or the 51. Maybe, hey, just let me be out front where I can't be even, a chance to be pushing or happen to be pushed as hard, where I get that X, and I'll just get it back the old-fashioned way. So 2 races going on, and what a perfect scenario for 2 races before the playoffs.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a lot of fun to see. And then yeah, the other question, of course, is where do you make the move and who can you go with? Like I said, I mean, Tom Dixon can go to the third lane, but the problem is if he does, he's actually putting his teammate Charles Johnson in a tougher spot to try to win the race, because he'd then be the second car in line. So it's almost like he'd be fighting for the second row instead of the first row. So that's where, again, the organization is it's going to be really tricky. And so honestly, I go back a little bit to the outside lane. Look at Dale Rapp there. You got him, you got Joshua Highball there together. Joshua's a lap down, but he's got help. He's got his teammates actually lined up really well behind with those Silver Fox drivers. So you got the 52, the 101, the 81, and the 77. So you got 4 of them here all lined up nose to tail. So I think this might be just one of those, hey, let's bide our time here. And when we get that moment of okay, we're about in that window where we can make the charge. So watch the 52. I think he could be the one that we're waiting for to maybe try to make that first move here.
Yeah, and with Del Rapp and those guys back there, they're still racing. Their season is on the line too, and it's going to be interesting to see if one of those guys make the third lane. I understand they're not racing for the lead, but hey, they need to get back on the lead lap and get back up there and gain as many positions as they can. Every spot matters, especially with all of the people, maybe battling a lap down. If you can gain 3 or 4 positions, that could maybe help you in a way that you don't even know. So it's getting ready to get business is getting ready to get busy.
Yeah, so we're coming around 5 to go here, Brandon. So yeah, it's about to all kick off. So like I said, it's going to be intriguing to see, because right now the top 5 drivers, they are all lined up here in order. The first one I said that is one down is the 411 Tom Dixon. And I think we might be seeing that decision being made now. Tom says, all right, I'm holding Charles up for a spot. Oh, I'm going to try to slide in front of Jim Brooks. There's going to be the little bit of contact we were worried about. They're trying to hang on to it. Oh, man, that was very, very close. Basically, I think Tom was trying to make sure he could get back behind the 9. Didn't quite happen. But that's actually, I think, what most of these lead drivers were hoping for, because that's actually really pulled most of the lap down cars out of this now. Gary Huffines in all of this, he's put himself as the first car one down. So now we're down to here 4 to go. Now it's going to be trying to get yourselves organized, and I'm going to change that third lane here, because I'm looking at the outside line. I see an Everett Lane. I see Gabe Butler. They are nose to tail here. Dude Conrad's leading them a little bit ahead too. So I think we're about to see some moves being made here. I think you can see the gap from Eric Laurie to the 16. I think he's trying to build some temperature in that 071 to be able to get ready to push here at the end.
Yeah, it's going to get tight. Ryan Deckard smartly using the draft there of the 81, and look how much it helped him. He cleared almost, I would say a car, was able to clear at one point there, but now this run right here is going to really stack up this outside line as they catch him, and where they caught him. Dude caught him right there as they were going in the corner, and you don't want to push there, especially late in the race. So smart move there as we get him right stacked back up, and I believe we're going to be at 3 to go now.
Yep, 3 to go this time by. So again, the only way it races officials, if they take that white flag at that point, it is race back to the line. However, if something were to happen before they get there, that's where the green-white checkers would come in. And again, we talked about the fuel. They're probably good to 75. I don't think anybody's good for any extra time, so we'll probably see some pit stops at that point. So we'll see if we get there. You see Dean Wilkinson. He's, I think, now realized I got to go. I thought I was making the right move, playing it safe, but now I got to try to charge forward here in that 55. You got contact in the back. That could be the yellow. Yep, caution is out. I believe that was that the 00? No, it was not the 00. It was a little further back. I think it was Justin Davis, possibly Robert Amaral. So now the lucky dog question side of things is, I believe possibly Gary Huffines, and here you go. Caution out. Bring the green-white checkered on. And this is going to be very intriguing here to see how this all shakes out. So let's first go back here. We're going to try to watch where this happens. Like I mentioned, I believe the 10, Justin Davis, is one of those that was involved in it. We'll try to get a better view, as I believe it happened as they were coming into 3. See a lot of movement going around. So we'll slow it down right. Oh, actually the 51. Let's go back again. Talked about the bumps that maybe don't react well. I think this is an easy example of that, when you can see the 101's getting a huge push from the 81, which then pushes him into the 51. So we'll slow it down now. So there's the bump to the 101, bump to the 51, and it just turns the 51 down to the infield. And then now for Jim, I say you're off in the grass. And unfortunately, you're kind of along for the ride here, Brendan. So he's going to try to see if he can find a way to just kind of get this car to turn. You can see the flames out the exhaust. He's trying to slow this thing down. But again, just the way, actually, no, it's 2 separate incidents now that I'm going back at it. You can see up ahead there. So we'll see, does Jim hang on to this? Oh, not this time. He drifts up there with that banking difference, catches the 81 of Anthony Lane. So unfortunately, couldn't save it twice. So let's go. So now we got to check the caution then, Brandon, because there was actually a separate incident with the 10. And so, yeah, so there they are. So let's go back one more time here. And this is just fighting for the same real estate in my mind from this 10 and the 77. So, yeah, so caution back out. And we're going to come back live because Gary Huffines does indeed get his lap back. And we've got a mixed bag of strategies here. We've got the 16. He has hit pit road along with Dude Conrad, Eric Laurie, Dale Rapp, and Jim Duda. But we got a bunch of gamblers, too. That's going to be starting with Ryan Decker to Dean Wilkinson. And Brendan, they're all running the apron, and I can't imagine why.
Yeah, I would have had to come to pit road. We seen this, cautions breed cautions, and right here, a lot of these guys are close. Maybe, yeah, what was it, the 48? He pitted with the 55, I believe, went that extra lap. So him maybe not so much, but some of these guys, I don't want to get run over somebody that runs out of fuel in front of me, or be the guy that runs out of fuel. You don't want to be that guy. So these guys are definitely stretching it. I would have came down and definitely got the tires if these cars are handling the way that they are. You never know what could happen if you got good tires on that third lane and you can really stick a line.
Yeah, I'm looking at pit stops. I can tell you that there were definitely no tires taken by anybody either. They were pretty much about 5-6 seconds of fuel. So, yeah, so basically Cody, so 8th place on back are clearly good to go on the end of fuel, even with the second green-white checkered. And, yeah, these guys here that are up front, they are just banking. They're hoping, like, okay, just one attempt. I think as soon as that second attempt comes in play, I think that's game over. The 2 that were probably in the best spot, though, at least initially in all this, were Ryan Decker, Dean Wilkinson. Remember, they went to lap 51, where everybody else was at 49 and 50. So that's a good opportunity for Ryan. But you can see even here, 1 to go. Most drivers usually you're doubling up. These guys said, I'm going to roll this apron as long as I possibly can here. Everett Lane's ready to go. He's waiting for his teammate Doug Webb to jump up top. And that's another story here, too. Everett Lane, he can push his teammate possibly on that top side. Charles Johnson is going to be the pusher for Ryan Decker. And again, I'm kind of guessing who's wearing what lines right now, because we got a lot of guys on the apron that maybe are actually supposed to be up top. So we'll see as we get through 3 and 4. But we do have at least one set of teammates, though, up on that top side, and that's that 24 and the 714.
Yeah, and the 24's got some motivation trying to get the clean sweep here this weekend. Talk about building some confidence. Sweep Daytona before the playoffs. Hey, that tells me, hey, I'm right where I need to be, and I'm starting to get hot at the right time. And so you got to be. Do you think the guys that's back there on fuel, they're good to go? Do you think maybe they are patient and they say, hey, on this, we're going to wait until the white flag to push it, just because we know how close these guys are, and if they run out, we're not going to get another caution, and they're not going to have a chance. If they run out, they're out.
Man, I don't know. I'd almost, in that sense, I'd want to be more aggressive, because I'd say you never want to see a yellow, but you kind of want to force their hand because I mean, yeah, if you're Cody or Dude and those guys, you're thinking, man, if there's another yellow, I could restart third or first instead of being about seventh and eighth. So yeah, it's going to be very fun to see how it's going to pan out. Like I said, you were asking for that third lane here, Brendan. You are about to get it. There's no question there. So it's going to be that 48 Ryan Decker on the inside line. Doug Webb on the outside line. Pushing will be Charles Johnson and the 24 of Everett Lane. Waiting for that green to fly, and we are back underway here. Green white checkered attempt number 1 at Daytona.
Yeah, the inside lane really tight there together. I don't know if it was just because of a little bit of a hiccup, but a really good start for them. As you can see, there's not much gap in there between any of them, and if you got anything, you're going to push it. You know, you no saving now. You're in position, and how about the 55 bounce back after all that? He went to the back and said, I'm going to get out of this mess, finds himself right back up there as Ryan Decker is going to lead him down the backstretch along with the 714 is right there. You can see the third lane coming in with Cody Nagels.
Yeah, I say Cody's going to jump top. The problem for Cody is he's got a bunch of boot knockers in front of him, but they're all going to get tight here through 3 and 4. You can see the 714 trying to hold tight, but again, he wants to make sure he can finish too tight. There's the contact. Everybody's holding it straight, but will be enough to be across the line. It still hasn't thrown a yellow yet, so I think we stay green here somehow. So this will be the race to the finish, so we'll have to go back and see who was caught up in that one. I think I see the 80 at the 16. Oh, contact the 714 and the 9. Huge wreck behind him. Now it's just who can get through unscathed. And, oh, man, that's pretty much the field. So now it's Ryan Decker, Dean Wilkinson, Dude Conrad. Does Ryan have enough margin now to hold off these two? Or are they going to be able to do this tandem draft and try to get back around that 48 here through 3 and 4?
Do they have enough fuel? We had these guys right back there in the chaos, but these guys are going to be using a lot of fuel here. Ryan Decker is a sitting duck, man. They're coming at him quick. I don't know.
Tries to throw a block. Won't be enough, though. They're going to make contact behind. It's going to be Dean Wilkinson getting a huge win tonight at Daytona. Dude Conrad going to wind up second. Ryan Decker will finish third. Pointed the wrong direction, unfortunately. But I say he did everything he could there at the very end. And then it's just going to be who was able to get through to the end. Gary Huffines, I believe, Brendan, was the last Lucky Dog recipient. He got his lap back all the way back to the front. Jim Duda grabs a top 5. That was probably one of the more chaotic finishes we've seen in a while, because I got to go back. That's the wrong. Oh, no, I'm going to the wrong one. We got to go back to I want to go to the white flag lap here, Brandon, because there's a lot that happened there. We got to see who all was involved in it. And then, of course, then there's the secondary incident, too. So you can see already there's the contact. And so what we'll do, let's try to find a better shot of this one here. All right, let's go ahead and back it down a little bit. I'm looking for Cody and Gabe. There they are. And I think you see right here, you can see the 071 Eric Laurie just a little off-centered here, off to the right, gets into the right rear of Cody. And this is, again, just try to save it. That puts him in the right rear of Gabe. And then you can see everybody's just trying to find a way to get through all this. Jim Duda just nowhere to go. But again, though, Jim Duda still finds a way to get a top 5. Look where he is in this wreck, first off. And then you can see everybody's just trying to find a way to pick their way through. Justin Davis doesn't quite get through unscathed. So then we'll jump a little further forward here. And again, this is Jim Duda, still winds up able to get a top 5. So now let's go a little further up here. So we got to find some of these other guys that were in this fight. And this is now where the contact happened towards the very end. Because then you're like, okay, now it's just going to be the full drafting race to the end. So we'll speed it up just a little bit here. So you're going to pick it up in 1. And I think it's going to be that bump once more that we're going to see probably unsettle that 714. You can see Everett's pushing him for all he's worth. And same real estate, I think, is the best way to put that one. I think the 9 drifts up a tiny bit. The 714's maybe getting a little bit off center there too. Look at Dean Wilkinson on this one, just able to drive underneath all of those guys there. The 52 for a second thinks he has it cleared for Dale Rapp. He makes big contact with the wall. Dude Conrad sneaks by underneath as well. And then, of course, we saw the chase down to the line here. So before we get to everything, though, I still got to get the official results here, Brandon, as it will be Dean Wilkinson getting the win tonight over Jude Conrad and Ryan Decker. Again, wild finish there, like you mentioned, just sitting duck, unfortunately for him. Tried to do it what he could to try to grab it, but just wasn't enough. Gary Huffines, Jim Duda there, the top 5 we just mentioned. And then again, it's just I think everybody just trying to recover and get to the line first of the rest of them. Charles Johnson able to still wind up 6th. Eric Laurie, Gabe Butler, Cody Nagels, Doug Webb are top 10 finishers. Dale Rapp in 11th. Unfortunately, Everett Lane looks like he was not able to finish up the lap. Winds up in 12th along with Jack Walls there. And then Joshua Highball, Tom Dixon, Justin Davis, Jim Brooks, Robert Amaral. Tough nights for those guys. And then we get a few that had also some difficult nights and some early retirements, I believe, as well, with Anthony Lane, Robert Hooligan, and Bob Fitzgerald.
Yeah, before we get to our top 3, Gael, I want to give a move of the race to Gary Huffines. Before that last caution came out, he was running 15th or so. With that move that he made to get the lucky dog, he missed all that. He gets the 4th. He gets a ton of points out of all this, and what a drive for him for sticking with it, being down that lap, not having a caution the whole race and having to battle and the 55 got the win, but the 00 I just want to what a move he made there.
No, it was a really, really good job by him, just like you said. And I was saying, obviously, we'll have to keep an eye on the points as well, because it is going to shake up a bunch again here. And so we'll take a look at that after we talk to our top finishers, because we got to debrief with all that too. So we're going to start off with Ryan Decker. Let's see if we can hunt that fella down if you haven't already found him, probably knowing you. And you already did just that. So we're going to grab Ryan on in over here. Some part-time driver and vying for the win right off the kick here, Ryan. Brandon called it, unfortunately, there at the end. It's like, man, he might be a sitting duck here. And unfortunately, you got through that wreck too well, where then Dean and Dude, they were able to hunt you back down, take that huge draft off you. And you tried to kind of slow him down a little bit, but just not enough there at the end. But obviously, you want to win and just kind of the one-offs that you get here and there. But I mean, take us through the final laps and the strategy tonight. Because, I mean, you were up front. Once the strategy kicked in, you were there vying for that top spot.
Yeah, I was sitting duck there. I mean, I was hoping, Everett, me, and Charles, and I don't know who the other guy was, could kind of race it out. But I mean, they got together behind me, and I seen them all kind of get collected, and I was like, oh crap, I'm a sitting duck. Here comes Dean and I think Gabe or whatever, and I was like, well, them greedy sons of bucks gonna pass me. but anyways, no, it was. Whenever I first ran that first stint, I knew it was going to be a kind of a fuel mileage run with I think I was able to go like 26, but I was kind of letting off quite a bit, 26 or 27 on that first stint. I knew it was going to be kind of fuel mileage, and then that second stint, everybody was kind of saving there towards the end, so we all had enough or whatever to go. And then, I don't know, just hit my marks on, you know how pit stops are. You got to get in and out of pit road like perfect. If not, I mean, you got to have somebody with you. So just trying to hit my marks, not mess anybody up, because I don't want to mess anybody up for the championship or whatever. But all in all, not a bad night. I just wish we could have raced it there at the end.
Yeah, heck of a run you had tonight, and was up there making some great moves. I told Gael, hey, he looks like he's back in season mode. And how has Friday nights been for you? And with this run tonight, are we good to say that we're definitely going to get you back after Friday nights are done?
After Friday nights, probably, yeah. Next season, I'll probably be full-time season, but right now it's kind of part-time because of all the football stuff. But right now we're 3-0 on the season, so that's good. But yeah, we'll be back next season ready to go. And, I was surprised I did as well as I did, to be honest with you, because I was like, I got to shake off some of this rust, because I ain't been on this thing in probably, I don't know, about a month and a half now. So I was a little worried about it at first. But then once I kind of, tested the waters a little bit, I kind of got my groove back, and off we went.
Yeah, and I think the other part that stood out to Brad and I was the final pit stop. You and Dean went that one extra lap, and was that kind of maybe the magic, the decision there that allowed you to stay out to? Was obviously a lot of guys pitted, a lot of guys stayed out. I mean, was that kind of made it easy for you to decide to stay out there at the end?
Yeah, I was wanting to stay out a little bit more with Jack, but I didn't know if he could go again, and I didn't know who had the fuel to go another lap or whatever. I mean, we kind of didn't get together the way the best way we could, so therefore getting off pit road was kind of a pain. But I mean, it allowed me to save enough fuel for that last green white checkered. But if we had another one, dude, I was done. I only had enough for that one green white checkered, and so I mean. After that, that's if the second one came out, I had to pit. So
Honestly, I was surprised that it didn't come out because I was looking at the timing of or when the incident happened. I mean, there was cars pointing the wrong way, and I was telling Brand's like, it's gonna be a second one, and somehow they held the flag and let you guys get to the white. So I'll say that was a good break on that side for you. But yeah, I say again, it's a lot of fun having you back on track here, and like I said, obviously no real rust to show from where I'm sitting. And again, you bring the viewers out, man. I say we got Kennedy rooting you on over here on the YouTube chat, so we got to give you the floor for anything. And shouts for that podium tonight.
oh, it's always teammates and family, man. That's what it's all about around there. My wife, Caitlin, and all them. You guys, man, putting this on all the time. Y'all are great. Admin's great. I mean, the broadcast is great. And, I'm thinking about Bud. I think he had surgery or something like that, I ain't talked to him in a while. I need to holler at him, but I'm thinking about him, and I appreciate all the help from all y'all and the teammates and everything. All right.
Sounds good, sir. And yeah, he popped in a little earlier, rooting you guys on. So a great job tonight, though, man.
All right. Thank y'all.
Actually, he's still watching as he says he wished he could have helped tonight.
Yeah, I wish he was there.
Great job tonight, though, Ryan, man.
All right. Appreciate it. See y'all.
All right, we got to jump one spot further forward here, Brandon, and that is going to be the wreck avoider tonight, and that is Dude Conrad. Had a couple incidents there coming to the checkered. But, dude, you were one of those that pitted there under that yellow. Were you maybe hoping for that second green-white checkered to happen, too, just to know that you're going to have a whole bunch of guys that had to peel off? Or I mean, what was your mindset there in that final restart?
To be honest, yeah. I had a boatload of teammates that was going to be cut there, but yeah, I was hoping for that. I seen Cody pitted, and I think Eric pitted with us. Yeah, we was going to be way short. I don't know how them guys saved that much.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. If that caution doesn't come out, we seen Ryan and Dean and those guys, they went an extra lap. And from what you just said, you guys, if it stays green, do you make it?
I was being real conservative pushing Ryan. I didn't want him to take the lead and get on the bottom. Then I wouldn't have had enough. But staying behind him to the last lap, I'd have had just enough to finish.
Yeah, it was what I think what Ryan was saying there too is like they could do one, but if the second came into play, then you guys were going to be in trouble. So, and then I feel like you've been in this situation before, dude, where you get through the wreck and there's not a lot of people then in front of you, and so you're able to get to Dean, and then you guys are able to push up to chase Ryan down at there at the end. Was that one of those ones where it's like, okay, let me get Dean there and see if I can do something with it, or was it just one of those like, okay, let me just push him because that's going to give me my best chance of a finish too?
I'm glad it was Deanie Weenie. Let me just say that, man, he deserves a win. He's one of the best out here. But yeah, well, like you said, I was going to push him. I'm glad it was him, but I'd have pushed anybody to Ryan, and after that, it'd have been a fight. But I'm just glad to see Dean get the win. I tried to go low, and Ryan was there, and I wrecked him. I didn't mean to do that, but it happened.
Yeah, I mean, it was like you said. I mean, when you get a speed differential like that, and you're coming to the checkers, I mean, like Ryan tried to slow Dean up a little bit too, just doing everything he can, obviously, to still try to find a way to win that race. So, I don't think there's going to be much harm and foul on that one. But yeah, dude, like I said, it was a really, really good run for you tonight. I say points wise, you're still looking solid. I know you're not one that really likes to look at the points, but I think you're looking pretty safe going into that final round in 1 week's time. So a great, great run for you. Again, I think you're probably Brandon's favorite paint scheme, even without his face on the hood of that car for the non-throwback schemes. So
yeah.
I haven't got a face picture yet.
Oh, okay. As soon as you get one, let me know. But I still got a lot of work to do. It seems like every race, pit stops come, I spend 2 or 3 laps catching back up. The pole don't really mean a whole lot, but I'd like to start qualifying a lot better. I don't know what's going on with that, but we still got some work to do.
Well, that's the competitor in you and a lot of the guys where it's you want to find every advantage you can on your competition because again, the 4-race playoff it's going to take pretty much everything being perfectly executed. So, wouldn't be surprised to see you vying for that title. Like I said, I think you're pretty safe in. I say I'll wait till all the points are completely dotted next week. But again, great run tonight though, dude. And as always, definitely want to give you the floor. Any thanks and chats for that runner up tonight.
Just Team Boot Knockers, bunch of awesome guys, man. It's fun to race with them guys. Congratulations to Denny Weenie. You two guys, man, it's so fun to go back and watch these things and, kind of know what's going to happen, but hearing y'all's input is awesome. Y'all do a great job.
I appreciate that, sir. It's you guys make it, I feel like easy for us because you guys always put on such great racing. So go enjoy this one and look forward to seeing you in 1 week's time for the regular season finale, sir.
Thank you, sir. You have a good night.
You too, dude. All right, Brennan, that leaves us one fellow left to chat with, and that is, I guess we have to formally call him Deanie Weenie now, because, that's what dude's referring to him as. So, Deanie had to do some wreck avoidance there at the end, and then make a late decision on what way you wanted to try to sneak around Ryan there at the end as well. We went into it saying that you were probably in a position that you need to try to get a win for the point side of things. Again, this isn't a win and get in league. And I'm sure obviously just winning is always nice too, but on the point side of things too, just getting that win. We know you've been so close so many times this season. Was this one of those, did you have that same pressure on yourself tonight, or were you pretty much just trying to just run your normal race?
No, I had some pretty bad luck this season in this league, so I needed to win. 15th to 10th. I was out of the championship standing positions there, so I needed to at least top 5. I'll take the win. It gets me up to 10th. So yeah, no, I definitely I needed this win.
Yeah, congratulations on it. You definitely worked hard. Been caught up in some things sometimes that you couldn't control, but gonna go back a couple laps before all the chaos happened. You decided to drop to the back there. Were you a little bit? Was that more of a little bit of a fuel so you can make sure that you can make it? A lot of people said that they were close, including Ryan. He pitted the lap later like you did. Was that more of a I'm gonna sit back here and save some fuel, or did you really feel like business was picking up there and the caution was gonna fly?
Yeah, the latter. I had plenty of fuel. At that point, I think I had 4 or 5 laps. I was good for at least one green white checker. It was. I think I was 11th, and there was so many lap cars trying to vying for that lucky dog position. I had a bad feeling that something was going to happen. So I'm like, I'm not going to gain any positions where I was at, and I'm in the middle of a mess. So I thought I'll just go to the back. I stayed in the 11th position, even being at the tail end, like the back of the pack. And sure enough, something came out. So then it got me back up to 7th, I think, on the restart. So.
Yeah, and that was, I kind of had that same impression when I saw. So you're one that you can kind of see things start to unfold at times, and I was exactly the same thing. I was mentioning to Brandon where you've got a couple guys on the lead lap going for the win in the first maybe 3 rows, and then you've just got that massive lucky dog battle right in the thick of it there as well. And yeah, you just don't know if someone's going to try to push the other one, how well that push is going to go. We've seen how unsettled these pushes we're getting tonight with these cars. Again, they don't line up exactly perfectly, so sometimes if they're just a little off center, it would definitely move those cars around. We saw a few of those tonight as well, and yeah, and I honestly, expected something to happen as well from up top here as well. So I think we're on the same page. There obviously didn't happen in the front, but I think it was still, again, I mean, there were still a couple laps to go when that happened. And then, yeah, I had mentioned as well with Ryan, I mean, I thought the fuel strategy you guys were able to do, go that one extra lap with him and Tom Dixon, I believe it was, got a really, really good in lap and then able to get right back to the draft there. Definitely put the fuel advantage in your guys' hand, it looked like, by a good margin. Was that one of those things where when you were able to get it done, you're thinking, okay, I've definitely got something on these guys now?
Yeah, definitely. That's one thing I didn't want to have to worry about is the fuel. And yeah, no, that was good.
Well, so you beat me to the points punch, though, on that one, Dean. So you do jump 5 spots like we talked about all the way up into the top 10. And I'm going to say a little bit of wiggle room. Looks like you've got about 7 points. Or, no, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one there. You've got about 4 points to the cut line from 192 to 190 or 188. But, man, I mean, it's super tight. I mean, I'm going all the way up to 8th place is only 2 points ahead of you. And then outside the cut line, Gary Huffines, Anthony Lane, they're sitting right there too, 185. So, I mean, next week, I believe Talladega, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, is one of those ones where you can't be comfortable, I'm guessing, at this point. You're going to have to, same strategy, I'm guessing, tonight, try to obviously get bonus point for a lap led. And, I mean, how do you approach being so close to that window?
Just you need luck. I need luck. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, we're gonna, Talladega. It's. You just never know. You could be at the front and a wreck can happen. You could be at the back, a wreck will happen. You could be. It doesn't matter with Talladega. It's, the wreck can happen anywhere. So I got to try to avoid that wreck and try to get as many points as I can, top 10 or whatever. Yeah.
I apologize for adding stress to you after getting the win tonight, but it was a really, really great run for you tonight, Dean. I mean, and like I said, I mean, Brandon and I have been talking, and both nights too, where it's like we've talked. It's been a tough start to the season, and sometimes they say things turn the right way. So hopefully, this is, like I said, this was the step to jump there and then get you into that top 12 after next week, and look forward to seeing how that one goes. And yeah, hopefully see you in that top 12 for the 4-race playoff. So. Before we get there, though, always got to give you the floor, sir, though. Any thanks and shout-outs for that win this evening?
Well, I definitely got to thank Dude for that push at the end there. Had he not done that, if he'd passed me or fought me to there, I would have, we would have been second. I would have been third or second. But anyway, I do appreciate that. So thank you, Dude. Thank you to you guys for the broadcast again. Always a pleasure to go back and watch it. TW Motorsports, my teammates, Charles. I don't know where he finished, but I think he did all right, top 10. Bob and Tom, again, didn't have much luck this race, but I appreciate them being in Discord with me. And all the drivers, again, it was another really fun race. One caution the whole race for Daytona, pretty good.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun tonight, and yeah, Charles with the 6th place tonight, so still a good result for the both of you. Obviously, he got that big win last week, and so yeah, so you've actually jumped over him because now he sits in that 12th position. So yeah, it's, like I said, it's going to be super close in the end of this thing, so it'll be fun to watch. Like I said, it's going to come down to possibly bonus points, so we'll definitely be keeping a close eye on that one. But again, great job tonight, though, Dean. Go enjoy this one, and we'll see you on track again in a week's time.
Thanks, Kyle. Have a good night.
You too, sir. All right, Brandon, that is our race winner in the 55 of Dean Wilkinson. And for once, I think maybe we didn't commentators curse somebody, so we're going to have to put this one on the calendar.
Dude, what's that guy? Oh, my bad. I just had some technical issues in here
no
with my headset cutting in and out, but I caught just like a piece of that. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, you're good. No, I was saying we're going to have to, I think this is the first time that maybe we didn't do a commentator's curse on drivers. I feel like we've talked about for Dean needing a good run, and I mean, we talked about it during tonight's race, and it actually panned out. So I'll say we finally had one go our way, it feels like.
Yeah, it definitely felt good not to put no bad juju on nobody, that's for sure. But the racing tonight was great, it put on one heck of a finish again, and it's gonna it put on such a good race that we're gonna have one heck of a finale next week at Talladega, and some guys with the moves they made tonight put themselves in some good contention, and aggression is definitely going to be the name of the game, I think, next week.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to see how it's gonna go for that finale, and yeah, it's gonna be super intriguing to see. And it's hard to see obviously on the car there, but you can see that little green ribbon on the fender there, saying that is Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month. One of our good super speedway friends that races in some of our sister leagues, Bubba Winningham, say he's been battling that for a long time, and he's been busting his butt doing PT and everything, and he's been regaining some motion from it. So, Dean, again, just bringing some attention to that from one of the buddies that we all get to kind of race with, talk about the community that we have over here in the super speedway community. So really cool to see. And again, and obviously, Ryan mentioning as well for Bud, hopefully everything went well for him. Looking forward to him getting back out on track soon as well. So yeah, it's just, again, everybody's got something going on unfortunately in their lives. This is always that nice escape for it. So yeah, I say always thinking of all of you guys, and giving you all of our best wishes as well. And like I said, always love being able to be a part of this, to enjoy having you guys have some fun with it. So really want to thank you all for being a part of it. Brandon, as always, pleasure doing these with you. It's been a lot of fun, and next week will be the season finale, regular season finale before we get to the playoffs. So it's clicking by quick. So for tonight, that'll be it for us. We will be back on Friday night. Tuesday night is an off week due to the iRacing build week. But IndyCars will be back in 1 week's time afterwards. So as always, until Friday, take care, stay safe, have a good night.